final, because we've got something really cool coming up next week, right? This is our final live for now. And today I just want to ask everybody, because this is, I often say your message matters. Somebody out there is waiting to hear your message. Somebody out there is waiting to have their life changed, the impact of your message, your story. And also for you, when you learn to share your story in the right way, you can actually create conversations that create cash flow. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. But I know I've experienced this before. I'm not sure about those of you watching, but imposter syndrome sometimes creeps up, right? Am I worthy of getting on the big stages? Am I worthy of sharing my message? Does anybody even care what I have to say, right? So Christine, we're going to address that today. Well, mostly you're going to address that today, to help people eliminate imposter syndrome while they increase their income as a podcast guest. So I guess if you just take it away, I'm sure you've experienced this before with people that you've worked with, that they sometimes shrink back a little bit from the spotlight.
Oh my gosh. And me too. I mean, me too. I've been reflecting on the last year of my life. And even though I've been in business a lot longer than that, in the last year of my life, I have done essentially the things that scared me most. And that was a result of realizing literally exactly a year ago, as of right now, July 2022, where I was playing small. Now, I think that a lot of us who have these big impacts, who are servepreneurs, we have these big impacts we want to make. We have these big missions. We also have a parallel amount of self-doubt. We have like a parallel amount of imposter syndrome. And we look at the people who are playing at the level that we dream of playing, right? I look at somebody like Mel Robbins for myself, and I just love so much what she does and how she shows up and who she is. And I think, wow, she has this big of a stage and this big of a business, and I have this big of a stage and this big of a business. And what I can tell you from experience is, like, specifically with podcast guesting and sharing our message, for those of us who are here to like elevate consciousness, make the world a better place, it is the most healing platform, the most healing medium I have ever experienced. And I have produced and or been in front of the camera on all of them. And so even just for the sake of what I've heard you say before, Evans, which is like, if one person can be helped, can be elevated, can be furthered in their growth by what I have to share from speaking from my heart, then it's worth it. And like, my personal mission is to take those of us who have these important missions and help us ethically like make the most of them and show up the most prepared, right? Because our nervous systems might be a little bit off, like doing something new. But the more that we can be prepared and prepared for the stage and prepared with something that we know and can trust, and with someone that we know and can trust that it works and has worked, then it's sort of like we have a plan for those nerves. And we have a way to mitigate it and show up anyway, so that we're not going to bed another night, another week, another month going, man, I got to just get out of my own way. No, we're actually out there doing it.
Yeah, I love that. And like they say, there is no comfort in the comfort zone, right? You'll experience more discomfort by not stepping sort of out of your comfort zone than you will by doing it, right? And what I'd like to share too, just to give everybody a little boost, is that we all, everybody experiences this. It doesn't matter what level of success you are. You mentioned Mel Robbins. I bet you Mel Robbins still has those moments of pause. And I say this from experience because I know one of my coaches at the time. And we're talking about somebody who has built multiple big businesses, multi-million businesses. He says that, every time he steps in front of the microphone to do a podcast episode, there's that one moment of imposter syndrome. Is what I'm about to say, is anybody going to even care? But he's like, but you know what? I do it anyway. And Mel Robbins, I know, has the 5-second rule, right? So as soon as you sit down to step in front of that microphone, whether it's a guest or as a host, just, give yourself that 5 seconds and just go for it. But I think what you brought up that's really important, and this is one thing that everybody, just a big takeaway for me, and I hope everybody caught it, was preparation, right? Preparation. I saw a post yesterday on social media from a guy who's best-selling author, written a book, speaks. He spoke at Richard Branson's Island, was invited to speak to Richard Branson's mastermind, his people. He was just speaking at Amazon to like the executives, and he was sitting in a coffee shop and had all these index cards laid out on the table. And he wrote a post. He was like, I'm going to do this. And I often get asked, do you get nervous? Are you scared? He's like, and the answer is yes. On both of those, right? He's like, I've done these all everywhere, but I still get nervous. I still get scared. And the key is that I prepare. And the reason I want to keep harping on that, Christine, is because I think that's so powerful about what you all do and what you do with your clients. For those of you watching who have been thinking about being a podcast guest, is that, like, I know, not to disparage anybody's business or anything, but I know, like, of a lot of agencies that, which you are not, but are like booking agencies, they get you booked and then they just sort of throw you to the wolves, like, now go do it, right? And the difference is what we discussed yesterday, right? You guys have part of your system is actually about getting people prepared, helping them develop their story, helping them feel comfortable, helping them feel aligned. Could you talk a little bit about that, just to give everybody an idea of what that looks like?
Yes. It's what we have developed to call expert embodiment. So we know deeply, like, that sharing ourselves as part of having a personal brand and a business is a terrifying thing to our systems. That's just how we're wired. Right. And so it is about helping us feel comfortable enough to take that next step. I jokingly say, like, do it and don't die and do it again. And not from a place of like forcing yourself into, am I going to pass out or am I going to be able to complete this podcast interview? Right. But from a place of like getting ourselves aligned, getting the strategy in place and getting us comfortable enough with how to create in the moment, because we have a framework, right? So for example, we just had a client say, okay, like her inbox is now getting flooded with invitations because she has moved herself into this position where she's not even pitching. She's getting people reaching out. And she's like, I want to know, how do I introduce myself? And I said, it is not about the elevator pitch. It is not about nailing something that you're going to say on the next 100 interviews. That's an old paradigm. It is about understanding how to take who you are and customize that, get comfortable enough to customize that in the moment according to these things that you're going to find out from the podcast host, right? So that you are creating an experience, an interview, all of these that is different than anything else that anyone has ever heard on that podcast. And so that the people respond to you differently, not from a place of like manipulation, but from a place of like embodying this expertise and not having to just stick to a script. Because, like, to your point, we're not just going, here's a show for you. Good luck. Show up at this time in this place. It's like, no, we're creating a whole a conversation that can be repurposed in 20 different ways, that can be monetized in 20 different ways, that can become the center of your marketing. And in order to do that, we also want to make sure that you are feeling confident enough to show up in your full expression as yourself, both strategically and energetically. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing I love too is that, and I can share real world. That's a hard one, like,
Real
right?
world.
Real world example from the other side of the fence, right? As a, our host, the host that I worked with on our podcast, we did interviews all the time. We interviewed some of the biggest names out there: Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, Barbara Corcoran. But here's the thing for each of you watching this: how many of you would feel like your story would be much more popular than someone like that? Because I'll go ahead and tell you, if you follow what Christine's talking about and the way that they help you develop it so that you can present it naturally and in a way that comes across authentically and connects with the audience, it will. And I have proof for it, because those bigger names, they go on, and this is not like, again, I'm not disparaging anybody. They go on and they have a sort of a script that they do over and over and over. They tell the same thing in the same way, and they give you questions ahead of time to ask them, right? So when I looked at our numbers for our podcast, the absolute most popular episodes were people like you and I, those of you watching right now. Those were the most popular episodes, because the ones where people came on and they shared their story and they were vulnerable and authentic and had they didn't come on with a, with a pitch. They didn't have an ulterior motive, anything like that. All of what Christine's talked about this week, the proof is in the pudding. And those were our most popular episodes. Those were the ones that people reached out to them and let them know how amazing it was. Those were the ones that got them clients and got them, people visiting their sites or doing whatever their end goal was. So follow the path that Christine has for you, and it can get you out there, and it will, imagine that you can become some of the most popular downloaded episodes of those podcasts that you go on. So, Christine, we have to wrap it up, I know, but do you have anything else you want to add to this before we get going? Anything else about imposter syndrome that I didn't ask you, that we didn't cover?
I think one of the most important things to know about imposter syndrome is that it is nearly universal, especially for women. I just saw the Barbie movie last night, so it's like very much on my mind, this whole conversation. And so knowing that, at least for me and for my clients, has helped to normalize it. So we don't think it's like something pathological with us. Yeah. Right. And so what's beautiful about that is that when you know that it's normal, you know that like it's almost universal. Unless maybe you're a narcissist, which I don't think anybody watching this is. They wouldn't resonate with us, Evans.
Right.
Then it is something you can work with. And, instead of feeling like you have to wait until you're 100% ready, right? Or you already feel confident. What we know about confidence is it comes from doing the thing. And what we know from our work is that in order to do the thing, there needs to be a sense of safety created in your body, a sense of safety created in your mind. And those things come from strategy and from trust, right? And so this is why we are hosting this event on Tuesday. We want to give you some tangible podcast guesting for profit blueprint that you can walk away with when you come invest an afternoon if you're in the Eastern US with us. And we also want to let you be in the energy of of being able to be held and walked alongside as you step into this next level of visibility for yourself. And if you're really wanting to maximize your investment of time, there's a VIP ticket where you kick off with an hour of coaching in a small, very small, intimate group setting with me. And that alone, we've been told in the past, is worth the price of the ticket and more, because you're getting it customized to your business. So there's an opportunity here to really come and work and play with us in a way that helps you move through that imposter syndrome without completely having to terrify yourself. And it's like an easy, simple, straightforward next step.
Yeah, I love that. And it's a fun experience. This is a energetic. I mean, come ready to participate, to ask. You'll have plenty of time to ask questions. Specifically in the VIP, you can get some real one-on-one help. That it's not a webinar. We're not doing slides, any of that kind of stuff. We're going to be there interacting with the audience, creating a high energy, high vibration of energy, having fun. And it's really more transformational than educational. And I will tell you, with 20 plus years doing this, I told my wife one day, I just like walked out of the office after I did an event one time and just seeing the shift in people and eyes light up and people putting in the chat that they were going all in now on themselves, all from just an event like what we're doing with Christine. But I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I've known this all my life, but I get it. It's about belief. It's about hope, right? About believing in ourselves. And when you come to this event, I can guarantee you one thing: when you leave, you'll have the belief that you can go out and do this no matter what. And you'll be in the room with a lot of people, like Christine said, that supports you. And that's the one other thing I wanted to talk about her program as well. If you're feeling imposter syndrome, you've got a supportive group of people when you work with Christine that actually help, that have been there and done that and there to help hold you accountable and support you through the journey. And we're going to do that August 1st as well at Podcast Guest for Profit live. But go to podcastguestforprofit.com, grab your VIP ticket. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see everybody. Before we even jumped on, Christine was like, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm ready to do the event. I'm ready." There's nothing. We have so much fun, and you guys will too. But we promise you that you will leave feeling different about your ability to step out on that podcasting stage and getting your message out there. So thank you all for watching us this week. Christine, anything last to say before we sign off for the week?
I think this is a huge commitment, or a huge opportunity to commit to yourself and stepping into the version of yourself, the leader, the star, like this beacon who has work that the world needs to hear about. That is our intention. That is what we want to help you do. And I'm personally obsessed with the fact that it's on the very first day of the month, so that you get to kick off your month, a brand new month, fresh start, with this energy, with creating this possibility for yourself, and also with like getting real strategic help from the two of us to do it. So it's going to be worth your time. It's going to be worth your attention. And we look forward to having you join us.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Start the month off right, like Christine was sharing, and, got plenty of time to join, but don't put it off. Don't forget, go get that VIP ticket now so we can see you on Tuesday in the VIP room with we've already got a lot of other really cool folks that have signed up. So get in the room with people that are going in the same direction as you. And there's some really cool networking opportunities that happen in that VIP room, because you're in there with other people that are, rising like you are. So it's a great place to be. So appreciate each of you that have watched us this week. And I can't wait to see you at Podcast Guest for Profit next week.